What's up? This is Freddie Kaguru. You're watching Black ATL.
ATL, how you doing today? We're back once again, and we have the honor of speaking to Iyesha Jenkins. I met her for this first time on set, but I kind of noticed about her, this hair would be burgundy, greens, gray, and the whole shebang. So I would kind of speak to her and say, how you doing on set, what the case was. But I was at home one night looking at Facebook, and I kind of ran across a post that she put on Facebook. It kind of struck me by surprise because you never know what someone's going through. You know, because a lot of people in life in general, you put a kind of a mask on your face or whatever when you go into person, so nobody has an idea because we kind of trained ourselves on how to be someone else when you're going through other stuff. So can you do me a favor first? Let's read the post that you put on Facebook.
Okay, no problem. And the time that I put on the post, it just happened to be the 1 year anniversary.
Okay.
So today marks the 1 year anniversary of when I hit rock bottom. The attached is part of a text that I sent to my 3 closest friends at the time prior to speeding down the road with my fully loaded 38 Special. I was homeless, unemployed, alone, hopeless, and dangerously depressed. One of my friends contacted the police and I was stopped before I had the chance to pull the trigger. I wish I could say that I've come a long way since then, but honestly I can't. I am a little better now than I was a year ago, but every day continues to be a struggle. I wanted to share this because I've been blessed to have met some great people who have brought such positive energy into my life. For you to truly know me though, you need to know some of the demons that I battle on a daily basis. Although it has been therapeutic for me to open up this way, I do hope my experience may in some way help anyone else suffering from depression. Please know that you are not alone. Thank you, Callie, Joe, and Simone for caring about me during my darkest hour. I love you. By the way, I got stopped last night by a cop for my broken headlight. I thought he looked familiar, but I wasn't sure. When he returned after running my license, he stated that we'd met before. I immediately jumped out of my van and hugged him. This was the same officer that stopped me last year. Despite my frame of mind at the time, he treated me with respect and compassion. After bringing me to the hospital, before leaving, he put his hand on my shoulder and said he would pray for me. I so much appreciated his genuine kindness, and I've always wanted to thank him. And I finally had the opportunity to do that yesterday, 1 year later from the first time we met.
Okay, so that night, let's go back to that night when you placed the post. What were you going through when you placed the post and you sent a text to one of your best friends about killing yourself? Mm-hmm. So what was actually going on at that particular time?
A year ago
yes.
when I sent that.
Yes.
At that time, I was living in my van.
Mm-hmm.
I had 3 huge dogs, my cat at the time. I had separated from my husband a couple of months prior to that moment. And I had been dealing with depression for a very long time, at least 20 years. Mm-hmm. And it just got to a point where I could no longer fight it. You know, I've always, like you said, put on that mask and, you know, try to just overpower the negative feelings by just staying distracted and trying to stay positive, but it was just too much coming at me negatively at that point to where I just said I can't do this anymore.
Okay. So like with depression, you said that you try to talk yourself out of it. Mm-hmm. So let me ask you something. When it comes to depression, you deal with different elements of being depressed. When you're going through it, when you're kind of overwhelmed,
yes,
that's when it kind of
with me,
pokes its head out the door.
Overwhelmed by one thing, and then I get bombarded with a lot of negative things. So anything negative that has happened, whether it be recently, whether it be from years ago, it will hit me all at one time. It's kind of like a leak in a roof. You know, you let that leak just keep going, and you can stick buckets under it, you can wipe it up, you can do everything, but then after a certain point, if you don't address it, the whole ceiling caves in, and that's what my depression tends to be like. Okay,
let's go back a little bit to when you first realized that you had issue with depression. You said you were younger in your life as a child.
Yeah, I've always dealt with it, and I've always noticed I get down sometimes, but I would always pull myself out. But as I got older, like in my early 20s, that's when I realized that it was taking longer and longer for me to pull myself out of it. So what used to be like a couple of days, I'd be kind of in the funk, turned into weeks, turned into months, turned into me just sleeping, 12, 14 hours and not wanting to get out of bed. And that's when I realized something more was going on here, but still never came out and said, I have depression.
So at what point did you went to see a doctor, correct?
Yes.
And what made you get, when you got to that particular point, you needed to see a doctor, how hard was that for you to go and sit in front of a person and get a person your pretty much break down your whole life and what you're going through?
Well, the first time I went to see a doctor was some years ago. I had slit my wrist.
Okay.
And it wasn't, I knew I was going to die from it, but that was the first sign that there's something deeper going on than me just having the blues.
Mm-hmm.
And so my parents had me go and talk to someone, and I was very resistant, so I didn't open up. I mean, I sat the whole time, and I was just like this, waiting for them, because, I have a background in psychology as well, so it's like, kind of like, what we got going on here, and I'm just very defensive, very combative, and I just wasn't open to the process. This time, again, it was kind of against my will, because, once you threaten to hurt yourself, it's an involuntary hold.
Everything changes,
So
yes.
I was placed at a facility, but this time I was like, you know what, I want help.
Okay.
So I was very honest. I was just like, every day they would say, on a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being you're still, severely depressed, where would you be? I'm at 12.
Okay.
Every day I would just tell them, nothing's changed for me. If you let me out right now, I'm going to continue with my same plan.
Okay.
Just so they would know, this is what you're dealing with. And I would just be very open. This time I was open to the process, because it's like, if
you were
I'm
open
going to
to
get
the
help,
process.
if you're going to help me, then you need to know everything that's going on. So it was just, I was willing to be honest. I was willing to tell them this is what's going on. These are the feelings that I'm having, and just allowed them to try and help.
Okay, let me ask you, because once you went to therapy and you started to speak candidly, parents kind of realize they have certain issues. Is it kind of like a trait genetically with depression? Can it be passed on, or?
I think you'll find some information that may say that that's the case, but then you have some people where there isn't depression in the family, and it's just with this one person. So I think that's debatable. I'm not sure. I'm not sure.
Okay. So that was a year ago.
Yeah.
So life for you right now at this moment, how's life for you now, a year later?
It's still a struggle.
Okay.
And that's why I wrote that, because it's like, this happened a year ago, but I'm still not out of the woods yet. I wish I can say, I'm doing great, but really I'm not. I'm still kind of having some of the same struggles that I had then. I'm struggling trying to separate from my husband. I'm still struggling trying to finish that process as far as a divorce. Financially, I'm still not stable, so I still am going through some things. What helps is that knowing that I am depressed. Finally being diagnosed with major depression, it helped.
Okay.
Because it's like, it's not just me, thinking I'm depressed or something is wrong, what's wrong, knowing, okay, this is what my issue is.
So once you realize you had the issue, you felt there are other people in the world that are just like you, you're not alone.
Yeah.
Did you feel relieved?
It is some relief too.
It was relief.
And so I know that for me, it's like, okay, I'm going to, I know my triggers. And I know, okay, when something bad happens, or if I just sit still long enough, if I don't just keep busy, those negative thoughts are going to kind of hit me and they're going to overwhelm. So now it's like I can kind of prepare for it. You know what I'm saying? I can fight a lot better, because I know this is, leading down me having a bout of depression.
Yeah, odd that you said, like me, we're in the entertainment industry. We can have times we're working. We can have times where it's flatline. Yeah. And like me, I'm so used to working and being around people and busy. When I have some downtime, I have to sit there and evaluate my life and think. Yeah. Then when you have to sit, there's no cameras, there's no crew, there's nobody around you in a room, in a space by yourself. You kind of have, like, my mind is like, oh, here we go, I got to figure this out, I got to do that. Yeah. I have this issue. Like, a lot of times when I'm on set personally, I'm around at events or doing certain stuff, I don't have to worry about other stuff that's going on. It's kind of like a blessing in a way. You can kind of pull yourself out of those certain situations, but you always find yourself back in because you have to resolve the issues. Yeah. Correct.
Exactly.
Okay.
And that was the thing. It's like I didn't want to deal with it, so I found myself always running. When I did have bouts of depression, I was just trying to distract myself and just mentally kind of run away from it. But this time I couldn't run. I forcibly was put in a facility, and it's like, okay, now that you're here, you can try and run by not being honest, by not being open, or you can get the help that you finally need. Okay, now when you were in the facility, what are some of the things that you had to go through? What you had to go through on different levels to get you in a better place mentally? What is their process? Well, with that particular facility, they had group therapy.
Okay.
So initially I was No. I was very resistant. Again, arms folded. I said, this don't work for me.
Okay.
Y'all can talk if you want to. I'm not trying to put my business out there.
Okay.
But seeing other people being so open and saying what they were going through, and some of the stuff that those folks, some of the stories I was hearing was like, oh my God, wow. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
For them to be so honest about sexual abuse that they may have gone through, or physical abuse, or bullying, and things like that, it's like then it made me feel more comfortable to say, okay, well, this is what I went through.
Okay.
You know, and that was very therapeutic. And so I wound up learning that, you know, group therapy, I actually like that, you know.
Oh, that's good.
Even though I still would like to do one-on-one, I would like to do group therapy as well. You know, I see that being helpful, and I saw it was beneficial in my particular case as well.
Okay, let me ask you another question. Okay, the places you are right now, and if you go back and speak to that young lady when you were a child and when you were in your teens, what would you say to her? What would you say to the young version of you?
It's not your fault.
Okay.
Because I would think it's something just wrong with me. Not necessarily there's something that is causing me to feel this way. You know, just to educate my younger self that it is depression, and depression is a disease. What I would suffer from, I would feel like aches and pains, and I didn't know why.
Okay.
You know, and now that I'm a little bit more educated on what depression is, that, you know, I learned that comes from that as well, where your mind affects the body. So if your mind is just, you know, that depressed and that hurt and that sad and that upset, it affects other aspects of your being. You know, so just to tell my younger self, you know, educate my younger self, this is what's going on, and you don't have to feel like it's just something wrong with me, and you don't have to feel alone, but to know that this is what it is, get help. And I would have told myself that a long time ago. When you have the opportunity to get help, be open to it.
Yeah.
Don't be so resistant and combative.
Yeah, that's why I was here. Like, but that goes back once again to our community. Why do you think, when it comes to our community, as African Americans, there's such a big stigma on mental health? Why do you think? What's the problem?
Just not wanting to be seen as weak, you know. And you know, I was in the military as well,
Oh, I
and
didn't
it's
know
the
that.
same stigma. So it's across the board, not just black. You know, I thought it was just black because that's all I knew. You know, I was surrounded by my family, and you know, my neighborhood was predominantly, you know, black Hispanic. But being in the military, I saw that it's also a stigma just in the military period, where you don't want anyone to see you as being weak or being seen as a liability. You know, because
Doesn't that make it more difficult for you to get in the military, dealing with that sort of issue? So how do you maintain it in the military?
Again, just being distracted.
Okay.
Staying busy.
Yeah.
Charitable work. You know, when I was in the military, I worked with sexual assault and rape victims. So putting myself into just helping others helped me to not think about I need help myself.
Okay.
You know, and encouraging people to forego the stigma and just get the help that you need. You know, I'm encouraging people to do things that I wasn't even doing myself, which is don't worry about stigma, just get help.
True.
You know, it was so easy for me to tell people to do that, encourage them to do that, but I wasn't doing it myself.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
So for all the people out there, young, older, blacks, white, Hispanics, what advice would you give them, people who are dealing with depression and dealing with certain issues, even issues in general?
To just seek help. And when I say seek help, you know, getting help as far as talking to someone is kind of like trying on shoes. Just because they are a healthcare professional doesn't mean they would fit you.
Good analogy.
You know, so that's the thing, because I think sometimes people may finally get the courage to go and talk to someone and it's not a good fit, and they don't realize, okay, well, this is just not going to work. No, just that person may not work for you. You know, but I would encourage you, if you're going to take that step to speak to someone, make sure you get someone that you're comfortable with. Don't feel like you have to stay with that person, even though it's like, I'm not comfortable talking to them, I'm not comfortable being honest. If that's the case, let them know. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And find someone that works for you. You know, because somebody that works for you, you know, is going to be helpful. Try one-on-one, try group. You know, just try different things, and just don't be so quick to give up and think that the whole process is just not for you.
Exactly.
You know, it just may not be a good fit with that person, but there may be somebody out there that it does work and it is beneficial, and you'll see that it's therapeutic.
Exactly. Well, I do commend you, because like when I was at home, I always see the burgundy hair. I always make comments. Your hair looks nice today. That's your hair. Blah blah blah.
Mm-hmm.
That's how we pretty much started conversating on set. We had been on, I think, a lot of different sets, but the Alpha Christmas party was the last one that we both did together. And I was like, oh, because I'm the kind of person that you never know what somebody's going through. I'm kind of funny. How you doing? What's going on with you? I like your hair. Because I believe in, you never know what somebody's going through. So if you just make like a nice comment, say something to them, that might help them get out of whatever they're going through. So I'm really big on this being kind of goofy and just like, playful. And
you good at it.
I try. So, okay, well, I commend you again. And I believe that a post you put on Facebook is going to help so many people. People also, if somebody wanted to get in touch with you and speak to you in general about what they're going through, maybe you could help them like a Facebook or Instagram.
Yeah, on my Facebook is Iyesha Jenkins.
Okay.
Instagram is TK Casera. So I mean, they're more than welcome to reach out to me if they want to inbox me, DM. That's fine. Honestly, I haven't been on Facebook since I posted that.
Okay.
But I'll definitely will respond.
Yeah.
And I have no problem with that.
Yeah, I think you're going to be a really big blessing. Cause, you caught my eye, and I think you're going to be a really good blessing to help other people out, whatever they're going through in general. Okay, we have Miss Iyesha Jenkins.
Yes.
Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful young lady.